Hey everyone, welcome to Beers with the Beard. I am the Beard, and I appreciate you all joining us today. So thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming out and doing this. Today's video is a live Q&A. I'm going to be answering some of your questions. I've got some other things that I've teed up from the forums and other places in case that we need some questions to fill some time. But thanks. I appreciate it. So let's see who we've got in here. We've got, let's see, Kyle. Hey, Kyle. Ray. All right, Ray, I got your question. I'll answer that. That'll be the first one we go with. Hey, Jay from Fort Lupton, Colorado. Nice. Eric, Lewis, good to see you. Evan. Hey, Evan. I assume that you have got a local beer to hold in your hand right now, Evan. I certainly hope so anyway. All right. So I've got a couple of new toys that I've been doing for the live stream today. So one of them is this little, let's make sure I can point at it right this way. So I've got this little thing I put in that shows the most recent activity, and this shows things like the subscribers and other things and activities that happened during the live stream. I've got this that you can see popping up now, right here. That thing. Hey, there it is. That actually is the live chat right now while we're doing it. And then I've got this thing over here, which shows us how many people are live. And I got this. This is our goal. So I've got a goal. I really want to try and hit 100 subscribers. And I've just been blown away actually already of how many people have subscribed just in the last couple of weeks. I was not expecting as many subscribers as I did, but I've set a goal for myself of 100 subscribers because if we can hit 100, it means I can get a vanity URL. What that means is basically I can have a link to the channel that instead of just being a bunch of scribbly numbers and letters all jumbled together, I can actually have it say, you know, the Beers with the Beard in the actual URL that I can share with people. So that's my modest goal that I've got. So I put this little guy here, and as we go through the live stream, as new people subscribe, we'll see it count there. And it looks like we've got 12 people watching right now. Looks like I need to adjust where this chat sits a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and do that live. Shouldn't be too hard to do. Let's see here. You know what, just to keep it simple, I'm just going to pull it over to the side right now, just like that. And we'll go a little bit more high tech with it later. But for right now, we'll stick it with that. All right. So the whole point of this is to do Q&A and questions. And Ray Thomas has broken the ice with the very first question. Thank you, Ray. He says, hi, Ray. Do I need the SW5E switch to use the Waves BR1 AVB bridge? And the short answer is no, you don't. If you are not using any other AVB gear, then you can go directly from the Studio Live Series 3 mixer to the Waves BR1 AVB bridge, and there's no need to use a switch. Now, if you are going to be using other AVB gear, you will need a way to connect that, and in that case, you would need a switch, so you'd have the ports available on the AVB network to connect other things. But otherwise, no need for an AVB switch if you're just doing a direct connection from the mixer to the Waves BR1 SoundGrid bridge. So appreciate that. Let's see, we've got Eric Lewis, curious, with all the stuff going on today, if there is any talk of bringing production back to the U.S. That is kind of a wild and crazy thing. You know, in technology markets, you know, I'm not going to speak about Presonus specifically. We have a variety of vendors and contractors that we use throughout the world. We actually manufacture in several countries, not just China. And so we do have contract manufacturers in multiple countries. So rather than answering that for Presonus, I will answer it as I know in my experience working in the tech industry. And, you know, my experience working in the tech industry, just to give a little background, you know, years ago, about 2 decades ago, I used to work for other manufacturers. I worked for Mackie. I happened to work at Mackie at a time when almost all of Mackie's products, all its analog mixers, speakers, things like that, were all manufactured in Woodinville, Washington. I was able to walk away from my desk, down the hall, onto the factory floor, and watch the products being made. And so I was there when that happened. I was there when they transitioned overseas. I was also there when and observed a lot of similar things with the Ampeg brand. When Ampeg moved some production overseas, but Ampeg didn't move all production overseas and actually brought some production back over. I also worked at Symmetrics, which made all their products there in their own facility at the building in Mukilteo, Washington. From there, I also worked at Avid and M Audio. And at the times I worked there, pretty much all of their manufacturing was overseas. I also know from various other friends that although things change all the time, I know that there are other pro audio manufacturers that do a lot of manufacturing in Mexico, as well as Indonesia, and other places. There's also a lot of brands that manufacture. A lot of the smaller brands can manufacture locally. They have hand-built products. They're able to do that kind of stuff. The volumes in which a company like Presonus or an Avid or M Audio or a Mackie or a lot of these other companies, the volumes in which we do, it's really hard to keep cost-effective prices with manufacturing in the U.S. And the other challenge that there is there's just not the manufacturing facilities and skills and expertise for some of these types of products. Now, that's a blanket statement. That doesn't mean all the products. There's a lot of products that we do have the skill and the manufacturing means to do in the United States in general for the tech industry. There's a lot of great guitar amplifiers that are made in the United States, a lot of great microphones that are made in the United States, and a lot of products in general. I believe Apogee still makes all of their products in the U.S. Motu makes all their products in the U.S. Motu, though, you also have to take a look at what their distribution channels are in relation to that, and how they can get things into other sales channels, and also the volumes that these companies do. So it's kind of a tricky question about bringing things back to the U.S. It's a bigger thing to consider than simply can we bring manufacturing of the mixers back into the U.S. One of the things that I saw in a previous life, with other companies was when we tried to move production of a certain product line, and this wasn't with Presonus or anything. I'm not going to mention the company. When we tried to bring the manufacturing of a particular product line back to the U.S. or even for that matter to a different country, we ran into a lot of problems, and we just couldn't achieve the same kind of quality control at the end of the line. And so the yields of the manufacturing, just because the equipment and the skills and the QA just wasn't where it needed to be, it just was a losing battle. And we were scrapping more material than we were making just because we couldn't churn out the product with the quality and the quantity that we needed to. So it's kind of a tricky question. In terms of Presonus, like I said, we have several different partners and contract manufacturers and vendors throughout the world, and we rely on all of them to work well together. And of course, a lot of our team is based in the U.S. Most of our engineering is all in the U.S., but we also have some great employees in our Ireland office, as well as who work remotely throughout Europe and Canada. We also have an amazing office in Hong Kong that works directly with a lot of our vendors across the Asia Pacific region as well. And so that's part of being a global company is making sure that we can address things on a global level. So I hope that kind of answers it for you. That's probably the best that I can do with that question. Let's see. Evan says we got a slight delay in the audio. Okay. Not really sure what to do about that. I'm watching my live here, and I'm pretty on it. Not much of a delay here live locally. So it may be the stream. It may be the quality of the stream. My YouTube is telling me that I've got an excellent connection in terms of stream, so hopefully we don't have any major issues there. James is just saying hello, gave me a wave. Oh, I like that. It's a water wave. That's cool. I dig that. We got Scott. Hey there, Scott. Hey, Peter Scott. Thanks for joining us from Australia again. I really appreciate you coming back. Good to see you. Jay, Lyra Audio Productions. Can you use the SW5E as a splitter snake? Will it work with other AVB brand hardware? So yes and no, maybe a little bit of clarification. So AVB is an audio network protocol. And so there isn't really the concept of a splitter. Let me move this microphone here. There's not really a concept of a splitter snake in terms of network audio, specifically with AVB. So with AVB audio, it's a true multicast network protocol. That means that when I send an AVB signal out onto the network, it's multicast. Means it goes out to everywhere. There's other networking protocols, especially when you go back to the old days of some of the EtherSound and CobraNet stuff, that you could choose whether you want a stream to be multicast or unicast. And so unicast means it's only sending that stream from that location to a specific destination. It's only that point-to-point connection. And multicast means that you're streaming it to multiple locations. Well, AVB, as of its nature, is always multicast. So it's not going to be sending out to every device unless it actually has a stream subscribed to it. But you can, it's freely available on all network ports. So in that sense, having an AVB switch like the SW5E is having a splitter box because it allows you to connect more AVB devices, which in turn can now receive all of the streams that are available on the AVB network. And then again, because it's a completely network technology, the streams that are out there are freely available. They're always out there. So if I've got 3 mixers set up this mixer is on switch 1, and then that switch 1 is connected to switch 2, and then switch 2 is connected to switch 3, and the other 2 mixers are off of switch 3. Any device anywhere on that network of switches and mixers will see all of the streams available coming from all 3 of those mixers and be able to choose which ones they want to subscribe to and stream from. So in that sense, it is a splitter, but kind of not in the traditional means of an analog split snake. The second part of your question was, will it work with other AVB brand hardware? And the answer is yes. It is an AVB switch. And because it's not an endpoint, it doesn't actually send audio streams from itself. So there's nothing to worry about in terms of how the clock works, how the audio stream is formatted, whether it's 8 channels per stream or 2 channels per stream. It's just the traffic cop. It's just the one that's managing the AVB network traffic going through, making sure the AVB traffic takes priority, making sure that the stream reservations are there. And so in that sense, it does work with third-party AVB gear. We have been working on doing firmware updates over the last several months, years really. But recently we did a firmware update. We're working on finalizing the steps that we need in order to get AVNU certification for our switch, which means that it would be AVNU certified and then guaranteed to work with other AVNU certified products and switches. So until then, there's not like an official word on how it works, but it's an AVB switch and it works. With this latest firmware that we have out available now, we haven't been hearing any reports of issues with the switch working with other products right now. All right, so then we've got, let's see, Evan, delay seemed to have corrected itself. You're good. All right, good deal. Thanks, Evan. And whoa. Well, I'll hand it to you. I'm live right now. I just had a child walk in on me. He wants some paper. He wants to do some coloring. How many sheets do you need?
Only one.
All right, here you go. Then close the door, please, buddy. I'm streaming. Gonna have to get me one of those on-air lights to hang in front of my door so everybody knows that I am live and on the air. So, all right. Excuse me for that. All right. Peter Scott is there a possibility that Presonus will make some sort of AVB to Dante converter for those of us heavily invested in Dante and AVB? The answer is yes. We are actually actively working on that right now. It is in development. I can't say too much more about it. It's not, working for the company and being directly involved in the development of products. There are strict NDAs I need to adhere to, but we've mentioned before, so I'm safe saying that yes, we have an AVB to Dante product that we are working on that will allow the Series 3 ecosystem to interact and exchange streams to and from a Dante network. That's all I can tell you right now. We are actively working on it. But I can't tell you anything about availability or price or anything like that, other than that it is coming. We are working on it. And I'm actually can tell you that I've got a prototype here at home that I've been playing around with. And so we are making progress on that, and they will be coming out at some point. All right, let's see what else we got. Ray Thomas is back with another question. How come no companies make any rack mixers with more than 32 inputs? Well, that's a good question. That was something that, we came out with a 64S, and after we came out with that, we did get a couple questions of if we're doing a rack version of that. And it's something that we've considered and we've looked into. I think, it's hard to guess exactly why other companies don't do it. I think it's probably a combination of the use cases. If you're doing a 64 channel mixer like that, that's rack mount, managing that many channels through software or through external control can be a bit daunting. So I would assume that it would be more of an install type of a use case. Otherwise, it's somebody who is comfortable with managing all of the user layer and VCAs and things like that to be able to navigate and do their mix with that many channels. I could see it being a benefit probably for theater just because it takes up less space. And so that's more seats that are available for the theater. One of the things that I have to do as a product manager, which is always hard, is we have to weigh the benefits and development costs and effort in creating new products with the return on investment. How many are we going to sell? Is there a large enough market to buy this product that we want to make it worthwhile the effort to do it? And so but that's only one input into the equation. In addition to that, we also have to take a look at our resources that we have available. Who is going to, on our engineering team, be working on developing such product? Hardware, software, who on the sales team, who on the marketing team is going to be involved with development of it? And how does that compare and weigh against other products we might be making? One of the things that's really unique about Presonus is that we're not one of these companies that just has a single type of product line. We're not like a Digico, where Digico makes digital mixers. We make digital mixers, we make audio interfaces, and not just audio interfaces. We make audio interfaces that range from $100 all the way up to $1,500. We make software. We have one of the largest growing DAW software platforms in the world right now with Studio One. We've got Notion, our notation software. We have controllers like the fader ports. And now we've got things like the Atom, the beat controller and stuff like that. So we've got a pretty wide range of products. And so we have to balance how we spend our resources in how we put that towards products. And it doesn't mean that we don't want to do a product or don't like the idea of doing a product. It just means that some products will sometimes take priority over others. And so it's sometimes a product idea that might be really great and successful in one area of the markets that we serve might just take a little longer for us to get to while we serve some of the other areas in the market or work on some other things. And so that's a general thing. So I can't really say why other companies don't do it. I think there are actually other companies who do 64 channel rack mixers, but they're more aimed toward the integrator market, more aimed towards install applications where you just have giant matrix mixers that are managing audio coming from a handful of different places all over the place to be able to manage large facility installs at universities or at large production studios and things like that. But in terms of live sound and things, I think there's probably a variety of reasons. One of them just being, how does that customer effectively control everything? All right. So good questions coming in. I'm enjoying this so far. Doing pretty well. All right. Brett. Hey, Brett, good to see you. Thanks for joining us again today. Always glad to see your face on here. It says, when will a big boy console be hitting the market? 64 is a wee too small for my house to worship jobs. Well, baby steps, little bit at a time. The 64 channel console is the largest channel count that Presonus has ever done. And we learned a lot in the process of doing it. And we're also learning a lot in how our customers are using it. It's been a wonderful experience and opportunity for us. And we're real excited about how our customers have been using this mixer out in the field, as well as the feedback that we've gotten back from it. And so as we look at the future of mixers and digital mixers for Presonus, we're taking a look first at how our customers want to work, are working, and what types of needs they have into making decisions of how we're going to progress in the future. And so, when will a big boy console come? I don't know. One of the challenges to doing a larger platform console like that is the development effort. To be able to build up the architecture and the platform to be able to make a mixing console like that is a pretty serious endeavor. It's not just about the DSP. There's a lot of things that go along with it. There's the way of being able to do some of the report codes and error logs and just general system logs together with that. You start getting into things like people wanting dual redundant power supplies and other things like that, more serviceable parts. And so it's a big endeavor to do a larger format console like that. And so, when and if Presonus does something like that, we'll see. But it's always exciting to go into new areas and new territories. And we're always keeping an eye on what our customers are doing and what they are needing so that we can try and meet them where those needs are. All right. Brett says, enjoy the kids. The time flies. Oh, yes, indeed. We've been actually having a lot of fun doing a lot of Cub Scout activity projects lately. I'm a den leader for our Cub Scouts, and so I get to have a lot of fun with the kids. I've got one who is a bear and another who is a lion. And so we've been doing some pretty cool and fun activities. We made these cool little, I wish I had one to show you. We made these little robots. I don't know if you've got kids or if you've seen the hex bugs. They're basically like a little robot that has a motor on it that just kind of buzzes, and so it moves around. But my wife found this great thing online where you cut the head off a toothbrush and you attach a motor, which basically is like the little motor to vibrate like you get in your cell phone. You put a little cell battery on that, a couple LEDs on it, glue and tape it all together, and you got yourself a little hex bug. And so we made a bunch of those as one of the projects, and they put it inside boxes and let them do battle against each other. It's pretty fun. Anyway. Let's see. Hey, James Reisenhouse. Hope I pronounced that right. Any interesting personal projects? This use a iPhone as my camera. I've got an old, I used to do some hobby photography stuff. And so I've got some old tripods and stuff sitting around. I bought myself some lights. And I've just been trying out different streaming software and plugins and things like that to try new things. And so that's been probably the most interesting hobby, is learning how to live stream, learning how to put together and make videos that people will find helpful and engaging, learning how to post it and promote it. So that's probably one of the biggest personal projects. In terms of audio and sound stuff, right now I've been working on the mixes for my River City studio sessions. So if you guys haven't seen those, Presonus has been doing these sessions where different people and bands have been coming into our River City studio, which is the studio that's built into our headquarters. And we've been recording with different Presonus products and talking about our techniques and things like that. And so I recorded a group called Sydney Sam a while back. And so I was working on the mix of that in Studio One. And so that was a pretty fun project. I'm still just wrapping up some of that. That's been really fun to do. Outside of that, my next project is, because I'm usually so focused on the mixers, I haven't had a chance to dive into our controllers as much. And I've got this guy here. This is our Atom controller. And I haven't had a chance to play with it. So I'm really looking forward to getting that hooked up and plugged in and familiarizing myself with that. I really am hoping to see how that can integrate and contribute to getting into making some music and arrangements again. I'm not a great musician myself. I have played in bands. I play bass guitar. And I've played on multiple albums. I've produced albums and stuff like that, but I'm not a great musician. That's why I made most of my living on the other side of the faders, the other side of the glass. I play the faders is what I tell people. So I'm looking forward to getting into some things like that, but otherwise, just sharing my love of tech geekery and gear, has been one of my things that I'm doing. And that's what I'm doing on this YouTube channel. And so that's one of the big projects I've been doing. I'm huge into cooking. I love to cook, especially barbecue and smoking. I just smoked a 10-pound pork shoulder on Monday, which turned out great. I've been working on my techniques for that. Maybe I'll share some of that stuff on the YouTube channel one day. But anyway, that's what I do with a lot of my personal projects we've got going on. The other thing I've got going on is getting this studio into shape. You might be able to see back there some of the wall panels. I make those myself. So I just got all the materials that I needed to make some more, because I'm missing some areas over here along this wall as well as behind here. I needed to get some more acoustical treatment up. And when it comes to the acoustical treatment in here, I've been pretty much DIY. And so that's the other big project I've got going on, is just working on getting everything in the studio comfortable and set up and things like that. All right. Eric Lewis, anything on the drawing board or development to take the SL3 up to 96K? Unfortunately, that's just not going to be something that's going to happen. This is a hardware limitation of the mixer. And it sounds kind of weird saying it's a hardware limitation, because the converters that we use are capable of 96K. In fact, the converters we use are capable of 192. Where the bottleneck comes in is the number of copper runs from those converters and those to our processors. So the Shark DSP processors that we use in the Series 3, they have, if you ever looked inside a motherboard and you see the CPU, you've got all these pins that come off of it. And those pins do a variety of different things. Some of them provide clock, some of them provide control and other information data. And then some of them are audio. And depending on the configuration of the chip and the lines running, they can carry 2 channels of audio, 8 channels of audio, 16 channels of audio, and so on. Well, in order to maximize the efficiency of the chips and the design of the architecture of the Series 3, the number of pins that we had available to bring in limited us to, in order to achieve the channel counts that we wanted to, we had to max it out at 48K. So we can't go to 96K because we simply don't have the physical pins available to carry the audio around inside of the PCB boards of the mixer to achieve that. So it was an effort that we did when we were doing the development of the 64S. It was one of the efforts that we did, was look into doing a 96K version of the Series 3. And our engineers spent a bunch of effort and time going and digging into that. And there was just going to be too many limitations in it that we didn't feel it was going to be a strong enough mixer that we would be having to cut too many corners to deliver 96K in order to do it effectively. So at least for Series 3 and this platform, that's our limit. Going forward in the future, we'll see what our future platforms have in store for us. Let's see. Brent is back again with another one. Will you have a configuration app similar to the Hive that is integrated into Presonus products? Yeah, so Hive, for those of you who don't know, Hive is the AVB AVDET control software. If you're not familiar with it, I do have a video here on the channel where I do a quick overview of it. It's an AVB, it's basically the software you use to monitor the devices on the network and connect streams between devices. And yeah, I mean, right now we actually do have an AVDET controller built into the Series 3 mixers. That's how you connect your streams. Right now we just have it so it hides third-party stuff to keep it focused on our own stuff, but we are working on an update where you will be able to see and connect third-party products from our mixers over the AVB network. So that's kind of our first step. When we have that coming out, we will have some ability to connect up streams on a grid type of view that is similar to what you see in other applications like Hive. But as terms of a standalone application just for doing that, time will tell. We've kicked around the idea. As AVB and other manufacturers and options progress and we see more options out there, we'll weigh whether it makes sense for us to do our own or not. We've got a few ideas in our heads of what we would like to do if we do something like that. But in the short term, the AVDET controller that's built into the mixers, one of the updates that we're working on now will open up that connectivity to third-party stuff. So you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to use the UC Surface software that connects up with the mixer to see the connections that are on the network and things like that. It's not going to be as comprehensive as a standalone software like Hive, but it is a step in that direction. And that's what we're all about right now is we want to stay focused on our customers, what they need, and take the little steps here along the way to make sure we're delivering a good experience and quality product for what our customers need. In the meantime, there are great products like Hive out there that are starting to go a little further than what is available. And so we are working directly with the people who work on Hive and others so that we're sharing information and all kind of growing in the same direction to help progress the future of AVB in Milan. Eric Lewis on air. Yes. I mean, you get those little red boxes, right? And I can have it set up. I'm sure there's a way I could connect it up to send out a MIDI signal. So when I hit the go live button, it triggers it and it goes on. Another personal project I'll have to work on, I guess, right? Jay is asking, will the 32R rack mixer ever be made to be daisy chained to another 32R? So I assume you're meaning in the way that we did cascading with the Studio Live AI series mixers. Right now, no, there's no provisions for doing that. It's not something that we built into the architecture, and it's not something we're really looking at the moment to be able to link two rack mixers together to create a 64-channel mixer. So that's not really something that we're looking at right now. It has been brought up a lot, but as we look into it, the effort for that looks like it might be more, and we're not even sure if the way that we architect the things would even support that. And so right now, no, we're probably not going to be doing a cascaded mixer setup like that. All right, let's see. Here, Scott's got another one here. I have an install rig which runs a Series 3 console with a 32R in Stagebox mode. If I want to add another console and use it to control monitors, what do I need to change in my setup? Okay. So, so right now, so you're running it in Stagebox mode. So when you run it, so when you take a console and a rack mixer and you set up the rack mixer in Stagebox mode, it basically bypasses the DSP and it sets up all of the inputs from the rack mixer to the inputs of the console mixer and the outputs for the console mixer to the outputs of the rack mixer. If you want to set up a second console with that, right now there's not an elegant way to do it. The way that we would do it is, in all honesty, you would put everything into standalone mode. You wouldn't actually use the Stagebox mode for this. You would put it, so all three mixers would be in standalone mode. You would have to do some manual routing in order to make this happen, specifically for your mix outputs. You would want to make sure that your AVB streams going from the console or from the monitors are going to the right place. and that you set up the mix outputs. So you take, like, for example, if you want the output of mix 1 to be coming from of the rack mixer to come from the front of house mixer, you would have to set up that rack mixer 1 mix 1 for that mix 1 on the rack mixer to be sourced from the network instead of analog, which means it's going to be grabbing its source not from its internal mix DSP, but from the network input, and then turn that fader up to unity, and then it would come out of that output. So you got to do a little bit of manual setup like that. The other thing to keep in mind is that you need to have a single network clock source. Now, in the future, we're going to be implementing a dedicated media clock stream. But until that time, the way that our AVB products work is they clock off of the incoming audio stream 1. And every mixer on the network needs to have that incoming audio stream coming from the same place. So, for example, if you want the front of house mixer to be your clock master, you're going to need an audio stream coming from the AVB of that front of house mixer to go to the AVB audio stream 1 input of the rack mixer and of the monitor mixer. So that, and then you want the rack mixer and monitor mixer both to be set to clock off of network stream instead of internal, while the front of house one is internal. And that way, everything is clocking off of the same singular device clock. With that and the manual setup, everything else will kind of fall into place. All your preamp control and things like that and permissions will still be able to be set up and work as you would expect. It's just that nothing's in a stage box mode. It's all set up manual in that way. All right. James saying, oh man, barbecue and faders. Yes, man. I love me some barbecue. Give me the meats. Alan, thanks for the compliment on the panels. These ones I actually made several years ago. I've got some acoustic material I bought from a company called Marker Tech. I just buy giant sheets of it. And then I use that and cut up the squares and place it. And then that way it looks pretty and my wife can handle it. And it makes it not feel like I live in a room of egg crates and in college again. So, all right, John Lackner. Hey there, John. Will the next generation of Air speakers include delay in the DSP for time alignment? That's a great question. Unfortunately, not one I can answer. My expertise at Presonus is with the mixers and the network systems. And so while I do use and do know about the other products that we have, I in terms of what is on the roadmap for that level of specific details, I don't always know. I don't always remember. We have another gentleman, Eric Welch, who is our product manager for our PA speakers and things like that. And so he would probably know. I'd have to reach out and ask him. I just don't know that stuff off the top of my head. I could dig and find it. It's all there and available, but it's just not, of all the data and information I've got to keep readily available to pull out at a moment's notice. That's not something that usually is within my lane of traffic that I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis. All right, Bart. Hey there, Bart. Have you considered a control surface for Series 3 mixers? For example, wireless mixing on a physical surface. Yeah, we've taken a look at it. There's a lot of different ideas and options that we've been tossing around. What materializes out of these ideas that we have, we'll see. Whether it's wireless or wired, or whether it's something you could wire into a wireless network or something like that, is TBD, to be determined. But yeah, other control options for Series 3 is a topic that comes up, especially in relation to our rack mixers. All right. That worked. All right. So, hey, Evan, thanks for the info there. So it lost it when the new subscriber pop-up occurred. All right, I'm seeing levels again in OBS, so I'm assuming it's back. There's a slight delay between when I'm talking and when you guys actually see it. So hopefully it comes back up here. All right, something to troubleshoot. So that's a good clue, though, if it happened when the new subscriber alert popped up. I'm wondering if there might be a conflict or something like that with some of those built-in sounds that come over from there. I'll have to research that and check it out. What I did was I basically just rebooted the mixer and it all came back. So I'll have to dig into that some more, check it out. One of the things with OBS is it's an open source free software, and so occasionally you run into glitches with it. But thanks for letting me know, guys. So I was able to jump on that right away, and I'll troubleshoot that in the downtime. Thanks, I appreciate it. All right, let's see. Let's see, Eric is asking, since I'm watching, am I subscribed? No, if you're watching, it just means you're watching. There's a little subscribe button here underneath. And if you hit that subscribe button, then you'll be added as a subscriber to the channel. And what that means is that you'll be, it'll be in your list of subscribed videos. So if you go log into your YouTube, you'll see a list of your subscriptions and all the channels you subscribe to. The second part of that is there's that little bell icon, which is the alert icon. So you can subscribe, that's one step. And then also you can turn on the alerts. Alerts will mean that you will receive an email notification anytime a new video is posted or a new live stream is scheduled. So if you subscribe, it means when you go to YouTube, you'll see it in your list of subscriptions, and you'll get just general news. If you get just like a weekly email about updates of all your subscribed channels, it'll be included with that. So that's subscribe, and then in addition to that, you've got the alert if you would like to receive alerts for it. So yeah, you have to actually hit the little subscribe button that's there, a little red button underneath the video window, and that will subscribe you. Let's see. Uli bought OBS and turned it off. Yeah. Sometimes the truth is crazy. That wouldn't be surprising. Uli has bought several things and turned them off. But luckily OBS is open source, so hopefully it stays that way. It's one of the things I like about it. All right. Let's see. Saying all good now. Yes, we're back. All right. Awesome. Way to go. Fantastic. All right, guys. Man, this has been great. Other than that little glitch, I'm glad to see that my little counter is working right. I'm seeing that we've got 16 people watching. The little subscriber thing worked. We have to troubleshoot, make sure that our little alert thing isn't what caused the audio to drop. It may have just been coincidence, or it may be a conflict somewhere. I'll dig into that. Really cool seeing this chat show up right here. I think that's probably nice that you guys can see it as well as me. I wonder if it's maybe a little too small to read. This is a chat window that basically comes out of using the chats and this type of tools for gamers. Gamers use this a lot to stream to Twitch as well as YouTube, their gameplay, and so the chat, people can interact with each other as well as with the person live streaming. So that's pretty cool. So I added some of those on there. Let's see. Live tracks asking transport control of capture on PC. I'm not sure I follow. So capture runs on PC. Transport control of capture on PC. Not really sure what you're asking. The other question I was answering earlier about controlling capture transport had to do with controlling it from the mixers itself, the console mixers specifically. Yeah, we'll see if some clarification comes in. If it doesn't come in here while I'm still live, I'll jump back in the comments and try to answer it later. Let's see, Kyle, give the guy a few more likes. Yeah, man, come on. Hit that what do they say? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, do all those fun things. All right, guys. Well, it seems like things are winding down a little bit. It's getting towards the end of my day. I need to wrap up a couple of things. So I think we're going to close it up here. We're getting one question. Have you ever used the Presonus SL Snake 150 on gigs? Do you recommend it for setup and tear down gigs? Yeah, that's actually what it was designed for, was set up and tear down gigs. We actually made sure that it was nice and pliable enough to be able to do the runs and not get all bunched up. It's a nice heavy duty cable, works really well. And yes, I've used it on several gigs. I'm not sure if that's what Rick still uses or not. I think he may have transitioned to some other cables, but for a while, that's what he was using on all the Fat Hat gigs. So yeah, that's going to work great. Transport controls from the mixer. Yes, yeah, from the mixer. That's coming. We'll get transport controls from the mixer to control capture on PC. That is something that's coming. Let's see. Kyle, thanks. I just clicked it. Count. We went up to 81. Nice. All right, guys. Well, this has been another fun live session with you all. I really enjoy it. And I hope that I helped you out with some of these answers. And maybe we'll geek out on some barbecue next time, too. All right, everybody. Thank you. I sincerely appreciate it. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscribes. I'm very humbled and pleased to see how this channel has grown so quickly over just the last couple of weeks. And I'm really looking forward to doing more videos. I do have a list of some requests of videos that people are asking for, including doing some stuff on setting up hardware inserts as well as software inserts on the mixer and how that would work in different scenarios. So I have that on my list of things to do. I've got, if you have any other requests of videos you'd like to see, hit me up in the comments. Let me know. Let me know how you're using your mixer, how you're using your stuff. I love hearing the stories about how everybody is doing their stuff. And it doesn't have to be just related to Studio Live mixers either. Talk to me about networking. What are your hopes and dreams in audio networking? What makes you nervous? What are you excited for? Barbecue, beers. I mean, come on, it's beers with a beard. What's your favorite beer? I know Evan's got some good local beers that he likes to share. In fact, I saw a chat come through. I hope that was him sharing with me what beer he's drinking tonight. What's your favorite beer? Hit me up in the comments. Let's have some fun with this. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Yes, Brent, have a germ-free week later. You too. All right, everybody. Take care.